Over a week ago, a truck driver who wishes to remain anonymous was part of a supply convoy in the north of Burkina Faso that was attacked by jihadists. His strong, confident voice becomes thin as he recounts what happened on National Road 22 in Gaskinde in war-torn northern Burkina Faso on September 26, when a convoy of dozens of trucks loaded with food was attacked. We will keep going to Djibo to do our work. We're going to help the people of Djibo. For example, if I don't go, if my brother doesn't go, who will go to Djibo? No one will. The attack claimed by al-qaeda officially killed 37 people, including 27 soldiers. 70 truck drivers remain missing, according to their union. At one point, we saw that we were all by ourselves, because those who were supposed to provide us with security also disappeared. It was a stampede. Everyone was looking for each other. We were really under cover of the military, but if they themselves ran away, well, so you have to understand that. They didn't have the right equipment to save us. So we really have a lot of questions. Gaskinde is the 18th attack in the region of the Sahel that has been battered by jihadist violence in the past 10 years. I call it the axis of death because it is an axis that is entirely controlled by armed terrorist groups. From Kongosi, Bozanga, Djibo is entirely controlled by armed terrorist groups. So sending such an escort with a large number of trucks to Djibo was indeed a high risk. It was sending the men to a slaughterhouse. 5 days after the attack, a military coup, the fifth in 2 years in the region, swept away the power in place in Ouagadougou. Daily life in Ouagadougou continues as usual, but then a lot is on the lips of the residents of this capital city. Just a week ago, 34-year-old Ibrahim Traoré was an unknown in Burkina Faso, but in the space of a weekend, he catapulted himself from army captain to the world's youngest leader, an ascent that has stoked hopes, but also fears for a troubled country. I think that as we have not yet had a decision from the High Court, it is a good thing that he assumes the position of head of state himself until the High Court can determine who will continue with the transition. My problem is that as a young person, he needs advice. He needs this really well. Without advice, it cannot work. We hope that all he has to do is to listen to the advice and that he will be fine. Traoré ousted Lieutenant Colonel Paul Henry Sadaugo Damiba, who seized power just in January. The motive for the latest coup, as in January, was anger at failures to stem a 7-year jihadist insurgency. I don't even want Captain Traoré to respect the ECOWAS calendar. We don't want the ECOWAS calendar. We don't want them. ECOWAS has never solved the problem in Africa. On Wednesday, Traoré was declared president and guarantor of national independence, territorial integrity and continuity of the state, opening a new chapter in this landlocked Sahelian nation.
Civil society groups on Thursday urged the Kenyan government to reverse a decision lifting a ban on genetically modified crops. On Monday, Kenya's cabinet approved the farming and importation of biotech crops as the country scrambles to attain food security and to tackle inflation. In a press conference in Nairobi, the activists said the decision was rushed.
We are greatly disappointed by the Cabinet's decision to lift the ban on the cultivation and importation of genetically modified organisms into Kenya, which was put in place 10 years ago. The ban was put in place through a cabinet memo on 8 November 2012 following concerns over the safety of genetically engineered foods, and for the last 10 years, there has been no need to import or allow open cultivation of genetically engineered foods.
The approval follows a drought which has left millions of Kenyans without food, but the lobbyists decry the lack of consultations before the ban was lifted.
We demand that the ban be immediately reinstated and an inclusive public participatory process be instituted to look into the long-term and sustainable solutions to issues affecting food security and agricultural productivity in the country. The solutions will include putting in place safeguards to protect millions of producers and consumers who do not embrace the technology.
The decision, which has been welcomed by scientists, means traders can now import GMO maize to help stabilize prices of Kenya's staple. For years, the East African country has been cultivating small amounts of GMO crops for research purposes.
Unemployment and the economy are among voter concerns ahead of elections in Lesotho. In the capital, Maseru, some people say they are ready to vote in Friday's general elections, hoping that their votes will eventually bring about change, while others are less optimistic.
We are expecting that the new government that could come over can be able to look really, and they can able to take care of our people.
The garment-making industry is Lesotho's largest employer after the government. It had more than 45,500 textile workers at the beginning of 2020. 25% of those workers are now jobless. I just feel that this is a waste of time, because during that time I could be doing something else rather than going to vote and helping people to positions, and then after they do nothing for us in our country. When you look around, a lot of people are unemployed, but they are there running for politics non-stop. To tell you the truth, I have never voted and I won't.
I'm not even willing to vote.
Employment is very serious. We have corruption. Our economy is down, so we are hoping that the new government that's going to come is going to make sure that our economy improves, so that a lot of youth that is unemployed gets to be employed, whether they're able to create their jobs on their own, anything that can bring hope to the youth.
There are more than 60 registered political parties, but the election is expected to be a three-way contest between outgoing Deputy Prime Minister Mathibeli Mokutu and his current coalition partner, Nkaku Kabi, and businessman turned politician Sam Matekane. The World Health Organization (WHO) has launched a campaign to raise awareness and spur action for suicide prevention in the African region, which has the world's highest rates of death by suicide. It comes as experts brace up for World Mental Health Day on October 10. Around 11 people per 100,000 per year die by suicide in the African region, higher than the global average of 9 per 100,000 people. This is partly due to insufficient action to address and prevent the risk factors, including mental health conditions affecting 116 million people, according to the WHO. The social media campaign launched ahead of World Mental Health Day aims to reach 10 million people across the region and galvanize the support of governments and policymakers to increase focus and funding for mental health programming, including suicide prevention efforts. The African region is home to 6 of the 10 countries with the highest suicide rates worldwide. The common means of suicide in the region are hanging and pesticide self-poisoning. Studies show that for each completed suicide, there are an estimated 20 attempted ones.